Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at this week's Sunday preview. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Sunday preview, a Black Library bonanza. It's the calm after the Vermin Doom in this week's Sunday preview. But that doesn't mean there aren't plenty of things to keep every Warhammer fan occupied. You'll be able to pre-order a shelf worth of Black Library novels next Saturday. Not least, the glorious special edition of the latest novel in John French's Ahriman series. Alright, so we have Ahriman Undying. Throughout his travels, the Sorcerer Lord of the Thousand Suns has been searching for a way to restore his cursed legion. Ahriman may just have found his chance in Ahriman Undying, the fifth novel in the series by John French, as he's finally got his hands on the Necron device known as the Key of Infinity, but his moment of triumph is solitary. This novel will be available for pre-order in regular hardback, ebook, and audiobook editions, and also a fantastic special edition presented in leather effect cover with gold foil silhouette of Ahriman in the front and printed page edges. So pretty cool new limited edition book right here, and then also the hardback as well. The fifth novel in the series, so it is quite a ways along at this point in time. But obviously Ahriman, a very cool character and pinnacle of the Thousand Suns Legion behind only Magnus. Alright, and then we have Lelith Hesperax, Queen of Knives. An assassin's blade drags Lelith Hesperax back into the Dark City for a blood-soaked return to form in regular release of Mike Brooks' new novel, Lelith Hesperax, Queen of Knives. Pretenders to Lilith's crown have infested the arena in her absence, and with Asdrubal Vecht himself pulling the strings of a murderous game, her blades may not be enough to save her this time. So this is the regular release of the novel that just came out in limited edition and sold very poorly. So I don't expect this to be particularly popular. I do like the idea that they're bringing back Vecht, making him a key character in the storyline for the Drukhari. And I do suspect that when the Drukhari get their range refresh and codex, that they're going to bring back Vecht in a new model form, which would be pretty awesome, as he was like basically a character version of a Ravager. So he had like one of the heavy gunboats with a bunch of like incubi bodyguards. So that could be a cool model redone, and then also could have some pretty awesome rules for Drukhari. Alright, and then moving on from there, two Black Library novels return in paperback release, featuring the definitive chronicles of Cadia's destruction and the fall of Cadia, and the showdown between Fabius Bile and Belisarius Cawl and Guy Haley's Genefather. Two releases are also available in new paperback and in ebook editions in German for the first time. Siege of Rax by Steve Lyons follows the death course of Krieg into the most devastating siege since the Horus Heresy, and Lazarus, Enmity's Edge by Gary Kloster tasks the titular Dark Angels captain with aiding an ancient night world owed a debt by his chapter. So very underwhelming set of releases this week. And honestly, I thought Games Workshop was going to lean back into 40k and we were going to get some excitement. We were going to get some of these like kill team releases. We were going to get some of these old world releases like the Dwarves potentially announced. Maybe see the new Warcry set coming up for pre-order. But in my opinion, it's very clear that Games Workshop is doubling down on Skaventide. The sales have been absolutely underwhelming. The product has not performed well, even though I love the box and I think it's awesome. They've been basically leaning into Skaventide for the last few weeks, and I think they're afraid that if they release anything else cool, it's going to cannibalize sales. But the truth is, everybody that was interested in Skaventide, everybody that's leaning in on Age of Sigmar, picking up the new data cards, the new edition, Spearhead, Skaventide, has already made their purchases. And the longer they drag this out for, the worse that the actual Skaventide and Age of Sigmar box performs. It's going to become very clear to people that they can just hang on and wait for the discounts. And in my opinion, the discounts are coming. We saw the same exact thing with Dominion. Games Workshop massively overproduced it. They hyped it up for months ahead of time, and then the release was an absolute flop. Now in Games Workshop terms, it did extremely well because they dumped all the excess supply on the FLGs and basically told them that it was going to be super limited. Got people to commit to massive amounts of orders, told them that delivery was going to be spaced out over months. And when Dominion sold extremely poorly, they just dumped all of the product on the FLGs at the same time. And this screwed them over really badly. So this time, the FLGs were taking pre-orders. They were very specific about the quantities they wanted. They were very cautious that this same situation didn't unravel once again. As even though it was 3 years ago when the Dominion launch happened, it's still fresh in their minds, as many of them are still sitting on dozens of copies of this box set. And the ones that have sold them all sold them at like a 50% discount. So any smart business that's still running after that experience is going to be very cautious as to how much they commit to Age of Sigmar. And even though it's Games Workshop's second most popular game and second in sales and revenue volume only to Warhammer 40k, there's still massive pockets all over the world that people just don't play this game. A lot of people are collectors, builders, models, painters, but the actual game itself has not caught on nearly in the same way as 40k and some of the other games have. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. So very surprising to see Games Workshop basically dragging this out for another week, releasing only a couple of Black Library novels. Basically just the Ahriman new book is coming out, and then just a hardback version of a book that just came out that performed extremely poorly. So very underwhelming. Games Workshop is definitely doubling down on waiting out the community, hoping that they're going to buy some extra Skaventide copies. Maybe they're also doing this to help out with logistics, but the fact of the matter is putting stuff up for pre-order means it's not going to come out for 2 more weeks. Most of the Skaventide boxes are already in the country they're supposed to be in, and many of them are already at stores. So maybe this is going to give them a little bit of a chance to get caught up on production, but overall it just seems like poor planning, or at least a poor decision on Games Workshop's part. So let me know what you think down below. Did you pick up your copy of Skaventide a couple weeks ago and now you're just sitting on extra hobby dollars collecting in the bank? Have you been waiting for some of these other releases like the Age of Sigmar Dwarves, the Warcry new box set, the new announcements for 40k? Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. And as always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man. And if Games Workshop is going to condition us to have awesome new releases coming every week, they better start delivering, because this is pathetic. And I'm out of here.